Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're featuring what I consider an absolute classic from Breitling. This watch I think is just, it looks fantastic. Really is a firm favourite of mine. And this has come in via one of my subscribers, Niall. Basically, if you'd like to see your watch featured on the channel, if you have something interesting, you're based around about the Midlands area, drop us a mail. The address is zingsg9@yahoo.com and we can talk about that. So anyway, as I say, just what a watch. Let's face it, it's a bit of a beast, but I think it looks incredible. It's one of those watches, it just screams out at you. It's got some real cool wrist presence, I think, anyway. I actually used to have a Chronomat Evolution, a mother of pearl dial back in the day, and I think this one is even better with its accents on the dial and its all brushed appearance. I think, yeah, just spot on from Breitling. So anyway, let's talk sizes. We're talking a 43.5mm case size. The thickness of the watch is 17mm and the lug-to-lug is 53.5 and the bracelet size is 22mm. Now, the dial, I think it just looks superb. I love the red against the black there, the different shades, the polishing. It just really comes together on this model. I think it really is a kind of just a great looking watch. You've got the right amount of polishing going on there. There's just enough on there, but it looks expensive. I love the Breitling winged emblem up there. Okay, perhaps there's a little bit too much writing going on here because it is quite a busy dial, but it's done quite well. You do have the subdials going on at the 369, and I like the way they've got the different textures going on. You see how they've got radial brushing, but then they're quartered as well. And, you know, you've got the straight line brushing going on there. It just looks superb how they've done it. I really do think it's good. The red accents, I just think it looks so sharp. It actually reminds me of red accents you also get on the white gold's Rolex Daytona. And this, to be fair, let's face it, it's just a beast. It looks fantastic. I like the way they put the Breitling logo on the back of a second hand, that little red tip up there. I say, there is a lot going on, but they've done it really well. I don't know why, but it works so well on this dial. All these lovely polished hour markers. I like the fact they're not just cut off, you know, square at the ends. They actually have these angles going on, and it gives it a little bit more kind of, I don't know, it kind of breaks up that dial a little bit. I think it is really good. There is loom on the hands and hour markers there, and it is surprisingly strong, to be fair. I think it looks really cool anyway. The actual chapter ring, you've got this kind of edge going on and then dropping down at the sides with the 100 divisions going on there. Overall, I just, yeah, as you can tell, I think you can tell, I do really like this watch. In so many ways, you should say that, no, it's too busy, there's too much writing, there's too much going on, it shouldn't look good, but somehow this watch dial just simply works for me. You do have this strange kind of square going on in the middle. I'm not quite sure why they went for that, but again, I can forgive it because I just think it looks amazing. You have a date here at the 4:30 position down in the corner as well, and it just looks superb, even down to the fact that you've got these little chrome bezels going on around the subdials. Overall, superb. Let's actually start chrono so we can actually see the hands going round here. Nice, solid sounding chrono as well. So, as you can see, the big second hand is part of a chronograph. The 9 o'clock subdial is your constant running seconds for your time, and these are your minute and hour totalizers for the actual chronograph. It's just, oh, I think it is really well done. Now, as we come past that, we have this gorgeous sapphire crystal. One thing I think Breitling always do well with is their AR coating, because when you look at it in, like, you know, this view here, you just can't see a crystal at all. It is just so good. When you think, I've got so many lights going on here, trying to get this, you know, trying to get as much light on this as I can, in certain angles, it just looks like there's nothing. It looks like if I put this probe on there now, I should be able to touch those hands. but it just disappears. It really does a good job of actually disappearing, making that crystal invisible. As we can see, let's just pop round. Nice little click going around there. So anyway, you can see parts of the AR when you get certain angles with the blue haze going on. Now, as we come past that, we have this bezel. The bezel, I love the font. I love the big fat loom pip on top there. It just looks, really does look cool. The action, absolutely solid. And there is like so many divisions. When you normally, on most watches, you get either 120 clicks or 60 clicks. What I mean by that is that will move maybe, every 1 minute. So you're going to get 10, in 10 minutes. So that's all great. But this one has got more like 20. And what that means as well, you can really fine tune the bezel, which is a bit strange considering you haven't actually got a pointer on there. But you can really fine-tune the bezel to a big round dot, which seems a bit counterintuitive, but there you go. Lines up absolutely spot on perfectly. You have this, I say, the font looks great. I love the rider tabs with their polished sections on there and the brush sections going on there. The screws for the rider tabs, I'm not sure if normally they just hold in the rider tab. That's all they do. But they do have a captive bezel system, the same as what Zinn have, I believe, with these other screws going on. On the outside, you do have a nice bit of polish work going on there. And overall, superb. The actual body of the watch, the case, as we can see, this one here is a limited edition model. Now, this is one of 2,000 models which came out. This watch, I think it actually originally came out, well, the whole model series came out around about 2010. That's when Breitling switched over to this new movement, which I'll talk about in a second. And they made a big deal because it was their first kind of in-house chronograph. And to be fair, it's quite a cool movement. But let's talk a bit more about its case. We have nice satinized brushwork going on there. And coming around here, you have the crown, which is kind of, this crown has always stayed with the chronograph, the chronomat through the years. On my watch, I found it a bit awkward to manually wind a watch because of this doming going on, but on this watch, it does seem a little bit more solid. We do have the safety system on the chrono pushers there, which you have to unscrew to engage. The reason for that is simply not to accidentally press the chrono. So if I want to stop the chrono, press, reset the chrono, you undo that. And now if you watch the second hands jump round, snap. It's got a real satisfying, muted click to it really, and you just put them in. The whole reason I say is to stop you accidentally pressing it, but also if you're submerged in water, they also act as a stop you from pressing it, which is more important when you're underwater. The simple fact is you might actually get water inside. Talking of water resistance, this watch has 200 meters, so a very credible amount there. Now, as we come round to the back here, let's move this. You have the movement. Now, we have a clear display case back on the back of this, and the reason being why this was Breitling's first in-house chronograph movement. This is actually called the BO1, and it is a gorgeous, it is a gorgeous movement, I think, anyway. It's a 47 joule movement with 70 hours of power reserve going on there. I did put it on the time graph. It is a chronometer spec movement, and it was pulling around about, I think it was 2 seconds, give or take. Now, this is an older watch as well. I believe it was serviced a few years ago, but gives you an idea just how good it is. It's got a column wheel vertical coupling on the chrono. That vertical coupling actually is quite awkward. I was talking to my boss, one of watchmakers, and he said there's a small tiny spring on there which is incredibly fiddly. Then I was talking to an ex Breitling watchmaker. He said there have been some updates to this movement, but it's just, I say, it's a really cool looking piece of kit. Supposed to be a nightmare to work on, but a cool piece of kit anyway, with its almost 350 parts. There is a lot going on that one. Basically, that movement was then carried over to the Tudor Heritage as well, Black Bay, the 2017 one. So, it's constantly being evolved, the movement, and it is just credible, workhorse for Breitling. The bracelet on this, let's face it, I love it. This is their pro style bracelet, and I think it looks superb. It looks much better, I think, for being brushed. On my old one back in the day, I had one which was actual polished, and it looked a bit glary. Now I've only just noticed, but this link here, as you can see, has been placed in wrong, so I might swap that over for Niall. You can see, because they're all on an angle, and that one is actually on the wrong side there. They are screwed, I believe. Yep, there you go, screwed. They're polished on the outside. It is a great looking bracelet, I think. It is, I just love it. This bracelet just looks so cool. It's a fine link, but on the angle, it just makes it look so much better. The clasp on this, now this is when people have a go at manufacturers like Zinn for having a relatively cheap clasp, well, without the on-the-fly micro adjustment. Well, this is what you used to get on a very expensive Breitling, and as you can see, it is it perfectly works, and I've got no problem with it. But you'd think on a watch of this cost, you would get something a little bit more flash. And also, the steel that Breitling use on their clasps is not the same as the steel they use on the bracelets. It's actually a more inferior steel, which is a little bit of a shame, really. But it still looks great. I'll probably tidy it up before I give it back to Niall, actually. But it just looks superb. Let me put this on my wrist so you've got an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing a bit of a beast as well. I've gone for my Panerai. I've owned this watch for 13 years now. Had it from new. It's fantastic. This is the Panerai 177. And Bob, ooh, what you got there, Bob? Bob has got a rather fancy Longines there. I've got a thing for Longines at the moment. I keep going into Francis and Gay, and I just keep finding gorgeous ones, and this is no exception. So we'll be reviewing that soon on the channel. Nice one, Bob. So anyway, my wrist size is 7¼ inches. So give you an idea how this looks. And there you go. I think it is superb. It's a beast in its own right, but it just looks classic Breitling. I really like this. If it was polished, I wouldn't like it so much, to be fair, but I love the fact that it is just all kind of brushed finished. That red and black on the dial, superb. Okay then, guys, all the best, and I'll leave you to it. And most importantly, stay safe out there. Bye.